Hey everyone, welcome to the Super Review Show's Mixed Bag live once on Wednesday nights on YouTube. How y'all doing tonight? I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Bill Murphy. How we doing tonight, Bill?
I'm doing good, and I can predict the future.
Apparently so. Bill has the ability now to predict the future because of last week's episode of Mixed Bag.
Okay,
and joining
let
us
me just fill them in really quick, okay?
Go ahead.
Okay, last week, for those of you who didn't see our episode last week, we did TV shows that should get canceled.
Yes, sir.
And one of the things I said was Counting On with the Duggars. And 24 hours later, my dear friend Justin here sent me a text that Josh Ducker was arrested for doing inappropriate things. And I'm like, and he's like, I think you could predict the future or something. Then you sent it to me. I'm like, guys, I think I might be psychic. So I can now predict the future.
We are not worthy. We are not worthy.
We are not
Praise
worthy.
be he, the almighty Murph.
Oh, hail Murph.
I might predict a few things tonight.
Oh boy. Anyways, that's Bill Murphy for you, everyone. Joining us also tonight is Justin Favreau. How are you doing tonight, Justin?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking.
I like your outdoor. I said this before we started, but I love your outdoor view there. It looks really good.
Yeah, thanks. It's been very nice down here in Maryland. Weather's been fantastic, so I figured, why not?
It's been raining up here today.
And it's raining all day.
We got a little bit of rain earlier today, but for the most part, it's been a pretty nice day.
That's good. Glad to hear it. All righty, let's see what we got. So tonight's topic, Bill, would you like to talk about the topic tonight?
Sure. Tonight we're going to be talking about remakes. Movies that have had like thousands of remakes.
Oh yeah.
Movies that have been made again, and reboots.
Oh yeah.
How do you describe a reboot, Justin?
Justin, go ahead.
So the difference between a reboot and a remake is a remake is taking a story that has been told before with characters that have been portrayed before and essentially doing it again, maybe with a fresh take, maybe with a modern times. Something might be different unless you're a 1999 psycho.
Yeah.
A reboot is taking the franchise, not necessarily the same characters, not necessarily the same story, and taking it in a different direction.
Yeah.
Probably the best example of remakes throughout the years is A Star is Born. The movie's been remade 3 freaking times. And if you want to talk reboots, J.J. Abrams is like the king of reboots.
Yeah. We'll get into him in a little bit.
We're going to talk about it all. The good, the bad.
And the awful.
And just the what the free is going on.
Oh, yeah.
And what the hell were you smoking?
Yeah, totally.
And we also going to talk about reimaginings.
Oh, yes. Our good friend Tim is going to be mentioned a lot during that.
Tim Burton will be mentioned a lot during this, during tonight's show. So,
yeah. Well, we hope you all can enjoy the show tonight, and hopefully you have a good time. But Justin,
by the way,
yes.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, that's right. I forgot to mention that. Happy Cinco de Mayo to all of our wonderful fans out there. Hopefully you had a wonderful time tonight. Hope you had some Mexican food.
Hope you had some tacos or some enchiladas or some burritos.
Or some burritos.
It's on its way.
Nope. And we hope you had a nice margarita with or without alcohol. Whatever your preference is, we don't judge.
Exactly. I would like to get, I know let Bill start off tonight, but I'm going to let Justin start off tonight to see what he has to say about his remakes and reboots and what does he think about the whole shebang. Justin, go right ahead if you don't mind.
So the big controversy when it comes to reboots and remakes is Hollywood is running out of ideas. And
Kind of are.
Yes, that is true. They ran out of ideas decades ago. It's sad, but it's true. You can only tell so many stories so many times where it gets stale. So you have to make it as fresh as you can. If I want, probably my favorite reboot is a reboot that had no means being good, but was handled by such a fantastic team. And I'm, of course, talking about the Jump Street franchise.
Okay.
Gotcha.
21 Jump Street was obviously this 1980s cop drama featuring cops who were young looking enough to pass off as high school students. The lead character being portrayed by Johnny Depp. Infiltrating a high school and taking down criminals. The way Phil Lord and Chris Miller did it, who I think are phenomenal filmmakers. You're going to hear me sing the praises of these guys for a long time. They were like, all right, you want us to do a Jump Street reboot? We'll give you a Jump Street reboot, but we're going to talk about how stupid reboots are. And they do. They touch on all the tropes of a reboot. The higher-ups are giving us a lot of money to restart a new project that no one asked for. So you two are going to be a part of that. That's the plot.
Yeah, I mean, and basically, if you don't mind me chiming in for a sec, basically a reboot, and then the very simplified definition of it, a remake is you take one film and just remake it. And if you were
it's a very simple.
Very simple. But a reboot is different. And I will give an example about that. Is that Spider-Man has been rebooted 3 times now since its inception in 2002.
I was actually going to use that
Spider-Verse,
as my example.
I forgot you gotta count that.
Okay, well, sorry. And I'm going to let Bill jump in a second. I just want to say a clarification of a reboot is of a franchise that you're going to reboot that. If you're just going to make one film out of it, it's just a remake. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Justin? Or was it my turn?
I think it's your turn because, there's only so much you can really say about the Jump Street franchise besides it's hilarious. They definitely went to a more comedic tone really with this.
Nothing to do with the 1980s TV show.
Which some people might think, well, what's the point then? The point is, it's a really good movie.
Well, Johnny Depp and the other guy, I forgot what his name is.
I don't know. I never watched.
They actually do make a cameo.
They do make a fun little cameo in the third act.
You come from Jump Street? We came from Jump Street.
And then they, spoiler alert, they kill him off.
Yeah, we actually saw that both of them in theaters together.
Yep. 22 Jump Street's probably still my favorite of the two. But that one is more of a send-off of sequels, while the first one was more of a send-off on reboots.
Yeah, but I will say this. It's like they kind of poke fun at it's basically the exact same plot. Except in high school, they're in college.
And they exploit that heavily. Like, they're aware how lazy it is, and the laziness is actually part of the brilliance.
And they're poking, and it's not like, yeah, we're lazy, we know it. They're like poking fun at how lazy they're being. Okay. Continue.
But yeah, this is one of the this is a franchise that has a small enough fan base, which warrants the question: why make the movie in the first place if the fan base isn't even that strong? Like I don't know who asked for a Jump Street movie, but you know, with a fan base that is obviously don't care if you go a different direction, because we're gonna get there in a little bit. There are some franchises that if you touch the wrong way, you breathe on it wrong,
people start to riot.
Yeah.
Riot.
it's like stepping on your neighbor's grass. It's just there's things you just don't do.
Yeah.
But have you said what you need to say, or you got
Oh
more?
yeah, it's an incredibly enjoyable reboot of a franchise that had no reason being rebooted, and they surprised pretty much everybody. And I think that's a testament to the filmmakers.
Mhm.
I'm gonna start off with I just said it. I'm gonna start with Spider-Man.
Mm.
That has been rebooted. The first one was, of course, the Sam Raimi movies
Yep.
in
Classics.
2002, which, fun fact, was actually my first PG-13 movie I saw in theaters.
Wow.
I actually didn't see it in theaters.
But yeah, it's like, because with the tone, and I've said this before, in 2002, and even the movies afterwards, it's kind of different from what you've seen in separate ones, which I'll get to in a second. But the tone changes. Like in the first one, for instance, the comic book, the villains talk like comic book villains. Would you guys agree or disagree?
Absolutely.
We'll meet again, Spider-Man.
Oh god.
Feel the shiver coming on your spine.
We are who we choose to be, so choose.
The heart, Osborn. We need to protect the boy's heart.
David
And-
Kep wrote this movie, ladies and gentlemen.
And of course, you haven't accepted my proposal. Are you in or are you out?
It's you who's out, Gobby.
Gobby.
Out of your mind.
Oh.
Yeah, they talk like comic book villains, and I think the Raimi series are very comic booky.
It knew what it wanted to be.
Exactly.
And it was just serious enough
Mhm.
to escape like Schumacher territory.
Oh, maybe we'll talk about him later. But anyway,
Yeah.
Well, he's technically not a reboot. He's technically a continuation of the Burton franchise.
but it led to a reboot. We'll get to that when we get to that. Anyway,
I'll get to that
yeah,
later.
but that's like with the series, it's like, it was kind of more comic booky, and Spider-Man 2, I think in a way, like villain-wise, it was probably the most serious one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Because of course, but with Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, I think he is sort of like I said, I think he's a good Peter Parker. I don't know how to describe his Spider-Man. He is kind of corny. Because of course it's you who's out, Gobby, out of your mind.
Yeah.
And of course, Spider-Man 3.
Oh yeah.
Which do we really need to discuss?
I think it speaks for itself.
Yeah, it does.
It does. Okay, you know what? I'll say this. With Sandman and
Every episode we have Bill defending Spider-Man 3. Have you noticed that?
with
Almost every episode.
With New Goblin and Sandman, it's not too comic booky, but once we get to Eric Foreman,
Yep.
then it gets comic booky. Like, again, one gripe I have, like, it's just his regular voice when he's Venom. They couldn't do anything to it to make it sound, I don't know, more intimidating. I'm not gonna. We'll be here all night if we have to figure that out. But yeah, it's the Raimi movies are very comic booky, and they're very cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the web movies, which, okay, guys, if any of you have been following comic book movies since 2008 onwards, 2008 is when The Dark Knight was released.
Yep.
And then every movie, not every, but a good chunk of movies after that, except for like MCU, try to be The Dark Knight.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, because
Justin, agree or disagree?
Yes, but I think people over-exaggerate with Amazing Spider-Man when they make that comparison.
Like, they tried, like, I'm open to the concept of a darker Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Here's what I would say. I think Tobey Maguire was the better Peter Parker, but I think Andrew Garfield was the better Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was definitely a better Spider-Man.
Because, like, here's the thing. It's like, they're more, I feel like the villains in the Raimi universe can't exist in the web universe.
Well, we'll see what happens when worlds collide this December.
But with the Raimi movies, I feel like, with the web movies, I feel like it's not a traditional comic book movie. I don't know what you guys think, but like, they don't talk like comic book characters.
I mean, did Lizard, was it 2012's Amazing Spider-Man had Lizard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember him being all like, we'll meet again, Spider-Man. I don't remember
The most comic booky thing in that movie, I think, was when he was over Peter in the final battle. He was like, poor Peter Parker.
No mother.
Parents, no uncle.
He's got
all alone.
That's the most comic booky. Yeah. They try to present that in a sense of realism, but I don't know, like with Spider-Man, with some of these villains, I don't know if you can be realistic.
Most of Spidey's comic book villains are science experiments gone wrong.
No, right.
So you can only ground them in reality so much.
Exactly. Or like,
and I definitely do think they tried too hard in grounding in reality with the web movies.
Yeah.
But
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Less said about that, the better.
Yeah, that one.
But
makes Spider-Man 3 look like The Godfather.
Here's where I will give Amazing Spider-Man 2 credit, though. Yeah, I'm giving it credit on something.
Oh well.
I'm giving Amazing Spider-Man 2 credit. At least, okay, comparing it to the Raimi movies, Spider-Man 2, when Peter quits being Spider-Man for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And the raindrops keep falling on my head. When you have that versus what happened in Amazing Spider-Man 2, I feel like the reason why he quit in Amazing Spider-Man 2 was sort of more realistic. Because in Spider-Man 2, it was just the stress of the job. While in Amazing Spider-Man 2, his girlfriend died. And, Gwen Stacy died. And spoiler. So, therefore, I think you can understand the realism of why he quit in Amazing Spider-Man 2 than in the Raimi movies. And that comes to another point when we get to the MCU ones in a second. But what do you think?
I think that both are valid reasons because, Peter Parker, yes, the stress of the job is what makes him quit being Spider-Man, but also remember the stress of the job was affecting his performance.
Okay.
So combine that with performance issues, the stress.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're at least gonna want to take a break.
Mhm.
If not, rethink your life decisions.
But I will say, and I don't want to sound like a morbid bastard or anything, but I think like after Gwen Stacy dies, that last third is actually brilliant because you see all the pain he's going through.
Yeah,
How he's standing at her grave. How he's
Oh,
standing.
I think that was done really well.
That was.
I think the scene leading to that was not.
Yeah. Or like when Aunt May basically tells him, "Hey, time to move on." And when he's like, that's the end scene when there's a kid in the Spider-Man costume and Rhino's there, and then I'll take it from here. But
Dumbass kid. That kid was a dumbass.
But yeah, but I think that's the thing, and also with other things too. Like for instance, we talked about the villains, but also some of the side characters like Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben! I feel like, in the Raimi movies, he's more the, just the supportive uncle. But I feel like in the Web movie, I feel like he's more sort of the tough love. You get what I'm saying here, Justin?
Yes. The Raimi movies were more faithful to the comics. The Web movies tried to elevate itself with subplots and intrigue and world building, but it was so focused on the B and C plot, it didn't have enough focus on the A plot.
Exactly. And then you have, there was a progression of like other characters such as Aunt May, which in the Raimi movie, she's just the supportive, who's very gray, who looks like she's gonna crap out any second.
Again, the Raimi movies were definitely a tribute to like the Silver Age of Spider-Man.
Yeah, while I feel like the Aunt May in the Web movies is more proactive, how she's taking college classes to help pay for Peter's college, to get a nursing job so she could help pay for Peter's college.
Mm.
But yeah, and now we go on to the MCU. And something I will give the MCU credit for, and I'm going to give it a lot of credit for. We have a lot of credit stuff to give it to. Is that they started when he's already Spider-Man.
That's a brilliant move.
Because, and we first see it in Captain America Civil War. He's already Spider-Man. I feel like, and they do this with reboots all the time, we know what happens. Gets bit by a spider, wakes up with spider powers. Uncle Ben, with great power comes great responsibility.
There's not much more you could really do with that part of the origin. Nothing.
And then
fresh
Uncle Ben
anyway.
gets killed, and now he's Spider-Man. Like, we've seen that a million times. I like in the MCU how they start it when he's already Spider-Man.
I thought that was one of the best parts of that movie, to be honest with you.
Because, the audience was like, okay, the studio's probably thinking, you know what? You know what happened. We don't need to show you again. We're just gonna have it. He's already Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's already Spider-Man. That's what we're gonna do. And
although I will say this.
Yeah.
There is a way where you could possibly show the origin. in more of a flashback capacity. If any of you watched the Spectacular Spider-Man show,
I haven't.
I haven't.
During the Black Suit Saga, he was having an internal struggle between the good Peter and the bad Peter, the Black Suit and him. And it kind of like goes over what made Spider-Man Spider-Man. Is that what we were gonna get with Carnage? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Are you talking about this?
Yes.
Let's go
And
back.
it kind of just like flashes back to his origin and just goes over like what made Spider-Man Spider-Man. And I think if they were ever to do like the Black Suit Spider-Man again, this would have been a great way to do it.
Mhm.
And I would like to, if I can continue, please. But yeah, I feel like one, they have Tony Stark be like the Uncle Ben role in a way. But I kind of liked how in Homecoming he gives him the cuff up. So I'm taking the suit back because I wanted to be like you. I want you to be better. And then when he's fighting the Vulture, which I gotta admit, I think Vulture in the Spider-Man Homecoming, I think was
Training wheels.
because they didn't do the science experiment gone wrong thing. He was just a normal guy. Like,
yes,
what are
but
they going to do? His wife is sick and he needs thousands of dollars to help pay for life-saving treatment or something.
okay, so let me amend what I said earlier about Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery.
Yeah.
There are two types of Spider-Man rogues. There's the science experiment gone wrong, and then there's the tech villains. Examples of tech villains are Mysterio, Vulture, Shocker, the Tinkerer,
Scorpion?
Scorpion's kind of a mixture of both.
Yeah.
Because he inadvertently becomes a science experiment gone wrong because the suit's bonded to him.
Yeah.
Same deal with Doc Ock.
You know what? Like one of my favorite parts, though, in Spider-Man: Homecoming, what is it that this be?
Ooh, the Beetle too.
Yeah. What is it that this be my destiny? Come on, Spider-Man.
If this be my destiny, yeah.
Spider-Man.
If anyone's read the early Spider-Man comics, I think it was issue 37. Where he's just trapped under all this rubble, and looks like he's not gonna make it out of there, and then the little engine that could.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I just love I feel like with the MCU tone now, I feel like they can get away with more. They can be more like comic booky now.
Yeah.
But it isn't too corny.
It earned the right, though.
What was that?
It earned that right.
Yeah. And then I'm not going to count like Captain America Civil War or Infinity War or Endgame because it's not part of it's part of the MCU, of course, but it's, what I'm saying.
I got you.
But, Spider-Man Far From Home. And I just want to say, like, now Tom Holland, who I said, Maguire was the better Peter Parker. The Garfield was the better Spider-Man, but I think Tom Holland does both of them good.
Yeah,
and
I think a well-rounded Spidey.
I think another thing that they did well was making him younger, because in the Raimi movies, he's like just finishing high school. First one, he's like just finishing high school, just started college. And then he's like, like in his 20s. Well, in the web movies, he's like in his junior year. The end of the first movie, he begins his senior year, and the second one is like between those. Is like between between his senior year of high school and freshman year of college, and this he's like a sophomore. And like now, I think there are certain things like he could get away with. Like, for instance, that scene in like Far From Home, when Fury goes, "We need you to help us," because I just want to go hang out with MJ. Like him being younger, you can excuse that because they portray him as like a 16-year-old kid, and that's fine. Or like when I was saying earlier with the how in Spider-Man 2, when it was just stress of the job, like if it was this Spider-Man, I could be more forgiving because he's a kid.
Well, they try to portray Spider-Man 2 Spider-Man as like what, 18 or 19?
No, I think like 20 or something, 2021.
Wait, 2 years.
Be like at least it's
Spider-Man been 2 years after.
Like at least
no. It was almost 2 years after Uncle Ben was shot.
So he's got to be at least a sophomore in college in the second one.
So 1920.
Yeah. This one,
Still can't buy a drink.
But this one, it's 16. You can forgive him if he did stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because when he's like, I just want to hang out with MJ. Like, if it was Garfield or Maguire, be like, dude, shut up and save the world. But here you can be a little more forgiving because he's young. And what I like about Tom Holland as Spider-Man is they make him relatable. And they make him like in the first one and in Spider-Man Homecoming, he's just learning.
It's
like,
funny.
Uncle Ben telling him with great power comes great responsibility, because in a way he learns it.
In both movies, it's that way, because in the first one, he's taking too much responsibility and it's giving off part of his Peter Parker responsibility to go Spidey full time. And then he learned, okay, I have to kind of skeeve off that a little bit and find a balance.
Exactly.
In the second one, he's realizing how much responsibility he has now. And he has to figure out how he's going to handle it.
Exactly.
So it's funny because both movies have the same through line. With great power comes great responsibility. And that's something that I think when a Spider-Man movie doesn't work, it's because they forget that.
Exactly. And I just
they forget that has to be the focus.
And I'll just say one last thing, because I just felt like I gave a whole doctoral thesis on this. But one last thing I'm going to say about this is also, I kind of like the transition of the love interest. I feel like in the Raimi movies you had
Mary Jane,
Kirsten Dunst, but who's just the damsel in distress.
She's nice. That's her character. She's nice.
Which is not.
Isn't she nice?
Which is not necessarily a bad thing, but
that's the only thing.
And then you have Emma Stone, who has a brain and is actually smart.
Yeah, they definitely went. Oh my god, I forgot about that sketch.
Which one?
The Amazing Spider-Man 2 SNL sketch that's on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen.
Oh God. Oh, well, this is great.
And then you have Zendaya. Well, there was someone in Homecoming, but I forgot her name though.
Liz.
But like, I'll say the one with Zendaya in Far From Home. She's
not Mary Jane, but she's got personality.
Yeah, like MJ. Like, this is not Mary Jane Watson.
No.
But
I kind of like it for it.
Like, I liked her, but the only thing is, I feel like the romance was kind of forced. Like, we knew nothing of, like, more in Homecoming, she was more of like a side character. But I feel like in this one, she is.
I think once the identity gets revealed, I think everything just starts to piece itself together.
Yeah. And now pretty soon we got No Way Home coming out in December, which I'm super psyched for. Are they going to do the Daredevil crossover?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
If that happens, then I officially have my title as predictor of the future.
If that comes true, I'll buy you your ticket to the theater.
JT, I'm going to hold you to that.
Oh God! All right. Well,
you're going to be held to that, pal.
Bill, if that happens, I will rent out a theater here in Maryland, and you all can come down, and we can have the theater to ourselves.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Costs $100, so.
Oh, we can all chip in. So anyway, that's our So anyway, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, your TED
Talk.
Yes,
25 minutes of talking about Spider-Man.
Oh shit! Yep. Sorry, guys. I just had a lot to get to. All right, JT, over to you.
What was the topic of this show again?
Remakes and reboots. I don't think it's about Spider-Man, though, is it? Well, it is. It's not. All right, I'm gonna kind of copy Bill in a sense, but I'm not gonna be as direct as Bill. I'm gonna say the Batman franchise.
Okay.
And I'll talk about it a lot because Bill, you talked a lot there, my friend. I'll talk a lot about this one just to save you. It's just you can save your breath.
Oh, I might chime in though. Watch.
Okay, just wait till I'm all done.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so we got this first. So look, there have been over the course of the past 80 years, there have been a ton. There have been a ton of different iterations of Batman. Literally, this is a ton of them right here, from literally the 30s and 40s.
Should we consider the serials though, because those are just.
All right, then let's just talk about the movies. Let's put it that way. Make it a little bit easier for everyone. Okay, so basically, here's the lowdown on Batman. Batman has been done over and over and over again. A lot. And honestly, I'm cool with that because I love the character. I love his background. I love everything about him, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to start with Adam West and we'll go up from there. Adam West, yes, I'm going to acknowledge him because there was a movie called Batman the Movie in 1966 and we involved Batman and, and had Robin. Okay.
It's fair.
There was a legit movie with Adam West and I saw Adam West and I met him, just saying, at one point.
It's a fun movie.
It's a very cheesy movie, but it's also everything in the 60s was cheesy. So
you can kind of excuse it.
Yeah. But it's I still liked it for what it was, and it was one of my introductions to Batman as a character. Then we go to the 80s, Michael Keaton Batman, which is right here. A little bit darker, a little bit grittier. Tim Burton.
Still my favorite.
It's a classic. And Batman Returns. And here, so those two films are great. For what they are, Batman and Batman Returns. But what I don't understand personally is, I'm curious, and I'd love to do more research to find out the reasons why. But how did Warner Brothers, which is an excellent movie studio, a fantastic movie studio, how did Warner Brothers make a drastic change from literally from actor to actor from 3 different movies. Basically, look, we went from Michael Keaton to Val Kilmer to George Clooney in 3 movies, literally in like 3 separate movies. Okay.
Yeah.
I kid you not, and I'll get to Christian Bale and Ben Affleck in a second. But literally, we went from dark and gritty to somewhat dark and gritty, not entirely, but here it had its moments with Batman Forever. And then there's Batman and Robin, which I've been waiting to talk about on the show for a long time.
Okay.
Batman and Robin, and I will say this: the one I think there's only one redeemable quality about Batman and Robin. To be completely honest with you, the movie was trash.
The credit card?
No, not the credit card. George Clooney is Bruce Wayne. I will give George Clooney. Personally, I thought he was a good Bruce Wayne. Other than that, it was a horrible movie. That was like the one finite redeemable quality thing about the whole movie.
There would be small chats between Bruce and Alfred in those movies that were actually pretty decently done.
Yeah, I mean the dialogue, but they kept the actor who played Alfred and all that stuff. I would love to go to Warner Brothers executive and say like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why'd you change actors every freaking movie? I don't know.
I think Michael Goff, the guy who played Alfred, was the only one who was in all 4 movies.
And the guy who played Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, yeah, that guy too.
Was he in Batman and Robin, Hingle?
Yeah.
Okay. But answering your question, JT,
and I'll get to Christian Bale and Ben Affleck in a second, but go on.
Because I think what happened was, when we had the Tim Burton Batman movies after Batman Returns, what happened, Justin?
So parents complained. McDonald's pulled their toys.
Groups had a lot of power. Think of the children.
Yeah. McDonald's pulled their toy line, which Warner Brothers is like, that's huge. So they definitely went to a different direction. Tim Burton went from director to producer.
I think executive producer.
No, he was producer on Forever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was ever on set.
Yeah, he said he had nothing to do with the storylines.
And he handpicked Schumacher. And
oh my God.
And Keaton was supposed to return. And he read the script. He hated it. He met with Schumacher, who made a claim of like, why does everything have to be so dark? Hated that. So he turned down over $15 million.
Wait, he turned it down because it was too dark?
No, because it wasn't dark at all.
Okay.
So let's bring
Schumacher complained that everything was so dark.
Okay, sorry, I lost the plot for a second.
Yeah.
So Keaton turned it down. Enter Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer and Schumacher butted heads all the time. It was reported that he didn't return as Batman due to scheduling conflicts, but the more likely answer is because he was going to do the Island of Dr. Moreau, another remake that less said about that movie the better, but so they asked George to be Batman, and he thought that was a really good career move at the time. It was not. And he admits that. So yeah, that's how we got 3 Batman in 4 movies.
Thank you. I never actually knew that.
Yeah, well, and you know what I will say, though, originally, So correct me if I'm wrong, Justin. The original screenplay of Batman Forever was supposed to be darker.
Yeah, and in fact, apparently there's a Schumacher cut
Release the Schumacher cut.
of Batman Forever
God damn, really?
that explores more of the psychology of Batman, which could have been interesting, except I've seen some of those deleted scenes.
Like the giant bat scene.
Have you seen it?
I have. It's so dumb.
Oh my god. It like engulfs him and it's like, what is this? An Ang Lee movie now?
Release the Schumacher cut.
Release the Schumacher cut, everyone.
So
Jesus Christ.
that is 2 movements supported by this channel now. Release the Schumacher cut and release the potato cut.
We support this.
Okay. Let's release the potato cut while we're at it too.
Let's release all the cuts.
Yeah, all the cuts to potatoes.
But anyway, yeah. And there was also a scene that Two-Face writes something in his cell in blood or something like that.
Something like Batman Must Die or something like that.
Yeah, what? Yeah.
I gotta admit, that opening scene of that movie is so dumb.
Yeah.
But remember,
oh no! It's boiling acid!
no shit, Sherlock.
It's so bad.
And for our dining pleasure, you're gonna get the acid that turned us into the men we are today.
Oh God.
I will say this about Schumacher. At least he got the origin story of Two-Face right. I'll give him that.
That's the only thing he got right about Two-Face.
Yeah.
And his fascination with the number 2.
That I'll give him credit for. And
I'll say it. The Riddler grew on me. I don't know if it's Stockholm syndrome or.
You mean the Jim Carrey Riddler?
Yeah.
For real? Oh my God.
We don't need this. We don't need that.
What the hell?
The performance is goofy when he's the Riddler. Him as Nigma is actually not bad.
Yeah.
And his scheme kind of ahead of its time.
I mean,
it's the internet.
Exactly.
It's the internet before the internet.
Exactly.
Literally. Oh God. Okay. All right. But before we go back to me, do we have any other comments for like what you guys are talking about with the Joe Schumacher and horrible, crazy, weird neon?
But I will want to go back to Tim Burton just for one quick second, because I will say this. I think it's a revolutionary thing, because the only Batman that we had up until then was boom, pow, whomp.
Yeah, no, that's true though.
So yeah, Tim Burton was probably the best person at the time to really bring this character to life, to give him the initial spark.
Mm-hmm.
And as the comics matured, because it wasn't until the 80s that we really got to see a dark Batman.
That's very true.
You know, our opinion of what Batman's supposed to be, along with the animated series by Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, really evolved the character that I don't think we can ever go back to what Schumacher tried to do. I think that ship is long gone.
That ship has sailed, as they say.
By the way, may Joel Schumacher rest in peace.
Yes, we did lose him recently.
Last year.
Right.
Now, you said you wanted to talk about Nolan.
Yeah, I was going to touch on Nolan and actually Affleck as well. So one of the things that I like though about everyone knows that I have my own opinions of the Dark Knight trilogy. I mean, obviously, we all know that like he's like, oh well, you know, he doesn't like.
It's your least favorite Batman franchise?
It's the least. It's not really. The more I thought,
I almost got you there. I almost got you there.
I know you was it Batman and Robin? What I don't know. This franchise, these three films, to be completely honest with you guys, the first one I really enjoyed. Batman Begins. I thought was a great introduction because we never. I mean, yes, we've seen like a Batman film with like the Tim Burton Batman, where they're talking about like, oh well, they're gonna do it's an origin. It's kind of an origin story, but I think the best iteration we've ever seen of the origin of Batman was the rebooted Batman franchise with Batman Begins. The Dark Knight, as much as I bash on it from time to time, I still think that as a film, it is a great movie. I still think that it's. I'm not going to spark a whole conversation about it, but I will say that it's to call it the Dark Knight and barely have Batman and be more of a cop thing. That thing just like piques me a little bit. Like, why would they do that? But whatever. Dark Knight Rises. I thought it was actually a very solid ending to a trilogy that was really well. Look, and let's not forget, directing one movie that's great is really hard. Directing two movies that are great in a row back to back is even harder. The fact that Christopher Nolan was able to hang on and do this trilogy right, and what it is, a lot of people think because I remember when before Batman vs Superman came out, there was all these rumors, oh, Christian Bale's coming back. Like, bullshit. Okay, Christian Bale was never going to come back to begin with. They never offered it to him. Blah 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 blah. The whole thing, right?
And then we got Batfleck.
No, I'll get to him in a second.
Wait, are you talking about the Flash movie, or are you talking about for Batman v Superman?
Batman v Superman. When I get there, and I'll get to all of it in a second. This I thought was a really, honestly, when I look back at it, I said, you know what? That was not actually that bad. Because as a trilogy on its own, it ranks up there amongst, in my opinion, the great trilogies. Not in the top 5 of trilogies of all time. That could be a whole nother discussion. But this movie, these 3 movies, I think are really solid. Christopher Nolan's directing, I think, as much as I don't like him, I think he did a great job on these films. Like, like his Inception.
That's a hill you want to die on, huh?
Yeah. So sorry. He's just. I feel like he's a one-tone guy, completely. But these films, as far as his take on superheroes and Batman and whatnot, I think he did a great job on that aspect of it. There were some parts I didn't like the fighting. I thought was the weakest part. Like, why are you making Batman go like, literally go, ooh, and like 30 edits later he hits the guy? I mean, that's my personal opinion. But like overall,
the Bourne franchise ruined action movies.
Yeah. The action was the weakest part of these films, though.
And we've been obsessed with that style of action from the first Bourne movie to, I would say, about Taken 3.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think that's when we started like, can you give us something new? And of course, they gave us John Wick to reward us.
John Wick's good. Yeah. So, but anyways, I'm not going to go too much into the Dark Knight trilogy. I mean, I do have my respect for it. I think it's a great trilogy all the way completely. I just want to say though, regarding Batman, though, we did get what I love that they did with Spider-Man and Civil War is what they did with Batman and Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, but I will say with Batman v Superman, the beginning, they do show what happened to Batman's parents.
They do, but at the same time, they didn't go overly in depth with it. It was not like not even a subplot line, and I really like that. This, I will defend this, and I'm curious to see what Robert Pattinson does with his Batman. But this Batman, I honestly, I really do believe this. This was the best interpretation of Batman being a physical beast on screen.
Yes.
Absolutely. Like, no matter what you think of the movie, yes, the movie was, it was okay, whatever. Like overall, this Batman though was effing amazing. Okay, like this Ben Affleck's Batman it is my favorite interpretation of Batman live. Aside of my Michael Keaton holds a very close place in my heart. But the fact that they didn't really go into an origin story, they simply rebooted Batman, but they made him a 40-year-old Batman. They made him a Batman that's going to kick ass on screen, and he took down Superman hand in hand. That is the Batman that I was waiting for. Like, not the
hand in hand in Kryptonite.
Yeah, well, that too. But like, I thought this Batman was great. I'm very curious to see what do you call it, Robert Pattinson Batman.
Yeah, because I think they're gonna go with that.
Hopefully he doesn't sparkle.
No, God. I think this one. To be honest,
it's gonna be good.
This was ripped right out of Arkham, the video games. You could just tell it's been ripped out of that.
Now, you want to hear something metal though about this?
Sure, go ahead.
His bat signal. That's the gun.
What do you mean?
That's the gun that Joe Chill used to murder his parents.
Oh, for real?
His chest piece.
Oh my god! I see that. I'm gonna zoom in. Hold on. That right there. Oh my god, you're right. That's actually really badass. Look at that. That's sick. Look at that.
That's a cool little detail.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna go with I think they're gonna go with Robert Pattinson, that he's already Batman at this point.
I think this is like Batman year 2.
I hope so, seriously.
Wait, is that coming out this year or next year? Next year, right?
Next.
March 2022.
Mm-hmm. And Matt Reeves is a great director, so.
Oh, I'm very curious to see what he does. Now, this is
another person who has successfully rebooted a franchise. Well,
we'll talk about that in a second if you want with Planet of the Apes. Oh no, that wasn't Matt Reeves directed the second two. Rupert Wyatt
directed the second two.
Rob
Trachtenberg directed the first one, I think.
It's Rupert Wyatt.
Rupert Wyatt.
Fact check. Go. On Google right now. Who directed this?
Battery's dying.
And so overall though, I mean, like, thank everyone for watching in the chat board. You guys are great.
Yeah. Sorry we haven't been interacting with you guys this much. We apologize.
It's been a very heated debate tonight. But overall, I'm curious. And a lot of people. Listen. I'm actually a Robert Pattinson fan. I think
I am too.
He is honestly the dude. I mean, he's what's his face from Twilight, but who gives a crap? That was 10, 12, 13 years ago.
No, I'm in agreement with you. Like I saw him in Good Time. He was really fantastic in it.
He's a fantastic actor. I really like him, and I'm curious to see what. And when
he was actually at the showing too. That was pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but it's like you know, we shouldn't really pigeonhole actors into one thing.
That's funny.
Except Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, we'll pinhole him all we want, but because I'll talk about that when I get to my other pick. Not Shia LaBeouf, just pigeonholing actors in general.
Just really quick, look at this picture really quick. This is funny. At the Lego Batman in his robe, and there's Robert Pattinson Batman in his robe. Look it up if you haven't seen it. Anyways, what are you saying?
Bill.
No, I was just saying that the whole we shouldn't pigeonhole actors. I'll get to that when we get to my next pick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, I'm curious to see where the whole Robert Pattinson thing is going to go. I'm curious to see it. But
yeah, me too.
You know what? I'm curious, Justin, before we move on to your next pick. Are they going to,
Sure.
how they're going to have the Snyderverse?
Yeah, wait, talk about that for a sec too, because I mean that's a reboot the Snyderverse campaign online. So
are they gonna have that and like this simultaneously? Because wouldn't the Snyderverse be more in the DCEU and this isn't going to be in the DCEU?
The Snyderverse is done. Justice League was the end of the Snyderverse.
Was it really?
It wasn't supposed to be, but the reality of the situation is there's no way that they could deliver a good version of Justice League that would be able to be released in a normal theatrical system. It can't happen. They needed at least 3.5 hours to tell the story. They used 4. 30 of those minutes were slow-mo, but
yeah.
And then he would probably need 2 more 4-hour movies to tell the rest of his trilogy. Because there were going to be 2 more movies. Justice League 2 was going to be Darkseid coming and taking Superman over, succumbing him to the anti-life equation. Superman becomes his pawn, takes over the world.
Of course.
Why not? You know?
Well, remember, what happened with Batman v Superman is Warner Brothers got super cold feet by the response to that movie. It wasn't as big of a hit as they were hoping it was going to be. And a lot of that was because of bad word to mouth from the first weekend to the second weekend, because they had a huge drop-off. I would love to see what Zack Snyder had in plan for the Justice League sequels. It was going to be completely different from anything we've ever really seen.
Okay.
So with that knowledge, I'm curious. We're never going to see it, at least not in movie format. However, he has stated that he would be interested in doing a comic book run to complete his vision. And he would do that with artist Jim Lee.
Okay.
Because they're still moving forward with the Flash movie. And that movie is supposed to be kind of like a soft reboot of the DCEU.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm excited for. I want nothing more than to see good DC films. Shazam was great. Black Adam.
Shazam was fantastic.
Yeah.
Aquaman was surprisingly decent.
Uh-huh.
Wonder Woman 1 was great. Wonder Woman 2. I might need to watch again to have a second opinion of it, but
Matt Hemsley, if you're watching, we apologize. We know Wonder Woman 84 is your favorite DCEU movie.
Yeah, have fun on your date, buddy. Sorry. Kidding. What are you talking about? Anyways. I mean, the Snyderverse, I mean, look, I really dug it, to be honest. I still dig it, to be honest with you. I think it's a great, visually speaking, it's great. I think it's...
I mean, I really admire Snyder as a visual storyteller.
Yeah.
I think he needs to hire better screenwriters.
I think so too. Like, also, I'd love to see them do this, to be honest with you. How The Rock can help restore the Snyderverse. I don't know. I mean, I think I'm excited for The Flash. I know that they literally have like 30 different screenwriters and 30 different directors coming to this property, but I'm excited for it because I'm curious to see where DC goes with this. Because if we're talking about rebooting the Snyderverse, we're talking about rebooting everything. That means you have to wipe everything clean. But what they're doing is, and what I think they're okay with it, to be honest with you, is just fixing a couple things here and there. Like the news came out today about like a black Superman movie. Sure, it was black. I mean, I don't care. I mean, if the movie's good, the movie's good. You know, that's my personal opinion. But as far as like where does this leave Henry Cavill? Is he still Superman? Like I have so many questions to ask.
From what I've heard from the news today is it's going to be separate from the DCEU, kind of like the Batman.
Oh, good. Okay, then that's good. I mean, that if whatever helps them make, plus it's going to be something we've never seen before, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious about it. I kind of hope that they would use a character that has a little more precedence of being like a black Kryptonian, because there are black Supermans in the comics. There is precedence.
Yeah, and isn't JJ directing that one too? Did I hear that?
No,
right?
He's not directing.
Is he writing it?
Producing.
Oh, good, because he's writing it. That'd be good.
It would be a tone-deaf move for him to direct because it's supposed to be a black story.
Uh-huh.
So you want a black director and preferably a black writer.
Right. I heard something about that today. I was just wondering because I literally heard that today. So, I mean, honestly, like rebooting the Snyderverse, is it necessary? I think if they say, look, let's make movies that tell great stories, are easy on our budgets, and we have a great time making. Like Wonder Woman, I'm sure they had a great time on set. Patty Jenkins did a great job.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Aquaman made $1 billion. Why? Because I thought personally, like I said, I for those who don't know, I didn't see it all the way through in theaters. I actually got sick and had to leave. Unfortunately, really.
Seasick?
What's that?
Seasick?
Yes, I was seasick from watching Aquaman in theaters. Oh god! But I honestly like that was good. I honestly don't know. I mean, I would love to see more DC properties. Like I'm excited for Black Adam with The Rock. I'm excited for Shazam 2. Like I'm excited for all these films. I would love to see a Green Lantern movie done right. Like I'm not. Listen, I'm a bit. Bill knows this about me as well. I am as big of a Marvel fanboy as I love the MCU. My first ever MCU film was Iron Man 2, unfortunately. But like, you know, I've seen pretty much all the films since except Black Panther, I think, actually. I love it. I love the Marvel films. I love what they've done. I love how they have this cohesive different phases and plans. DC needs to step up their game. I've said this before. DC needs to just have one clear-cut plan and say, look, we're going to have this director and this writer go write us a film. Like, I pulled this up before, and I'm going to pull it up right now because now you guys got me on a tangent. DCEU films, right? And if I do this, and if I go over here, and if I literally go like this, hold on one second. They literally, I can't, and Suicide Squad, we can't remember that too. We have to remember that too. If I go to, where's the films? List the films. Okay, look. These are the films that can come out: Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, Justice League, Aquaman, Shazam, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 84, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Okay, these are the films that came out. Look what's coming out soon: The Suicide Squad. I love that trailer that came out, by the way. Just saying.
Oh my God, it looks so good.
It looks great. James Gunn, I think, is because he directed Guardians. He brought a talking tree and a walking tree and a talking raccoon to the screen, and we fell in love with it. Now that he's going to do this with Suicide Squad, I really do think it's going to revitalize the DCEU.
And supposedly this had almost no notes from the studio. Like they gave him carte blanche.
They should really do that more often. To be honest with you, Black Adam.
Well, we'll see.
I mean, we'll see. But look, Black Adam 2022. I'm excited about The Rock. The Rock is finally entering a superhero franchise. And I think him being a part of Marvel I never liked that idea. I thought he should play a villain or Lobo or something in DC. I thought he would love that. And he's doing it.
I don't know about Lobo,
Flash,
but
Lobo. Look, The Flash, Aquaman, Shazam, 2023. Oh my God. I'm so stoked for these other movies because I want to see. Like, I guess you could say I might have Marvel-itis. like Marvel's doing everything right. They're doing all these great properties,
Right.
they're doing all this great stuff. I think DC could easily step up their game if they had if they announced, instead of like this movie's coming out then or this coming, just announce 3 movies a year. Say you're gonna put out Batgirl, Gotham City Sirens, and a Green Lantern movie in 2024. Then 2025, you're gonna do Lobo, you're gonna put out Plastic Man, and you're gonna put out a Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. Is
Oh
this
my
what it
God.
says?
Booster Gold's never gonna happen.
I
That was
swear
announced.
to you. Listen, I will say this. This really caught my attention, to be honest with you. And I know we're going on a huge tangent here, so I'm going to get back to our conversation in a second. Because we were going
I
really.
just want to say,
What do you got, Phil?
We're still on round 1, guys.
Yeah, we're still on round 1. How many rounds do we want to go here? Because I feel like if we keep doing this, we're going to be here all night.
I feel like there's not a lot of stuff. Let's go to 2. Let's do 2 rounds. So this is round 1.
So you want to just do one? You want to do 3 rounds? This one, the next one we're going to do, and one more? Or let's just take it as it goes.
Let's take it as it goes because it's fine.
Because if we do like 4 or 5 rounds and we keep going up like this, we're going to be here a while.
Yeah, so that's a good call.
And I know we all got to get to bed.
Yeah. Listen, so I'll finish my rant really quick. Like they announced, they're announcing all these films, but I'm saying none of it's going to come to fruition. Like they announced like the Trench spinoff from Aquaman, like and like they went a Cyborg got reworked, whatever. Like literally just announce 3 movies a year. That's all you have to do. So anyways, digress. Anyways, whose pick is? I went off on a huge tangent there. Who's next?
All right, Justin, it's your turn.
Yes,
Okay,
go ahead, Jeff.
so
Bottom
my
line,
next
reboot
pick-
design.
my next pick is a franchise that it seems that every movie that comes out is a reboot. I'm, of course, talking about the Terminator franchise.
That's a great pick. I should have thought of that.
Guys, I'll be back in a sec. You guys can hold down the fort while I'm gone, right?
All right, yeah. That's fine. Yeah. So, Justin, you go first, and I will explain my side in a second. Go ahead.
Sure. So, the first 2 Terminator movies are classics. The first one was a great low-budget horror sci-fi movie that introduced us to Arnold. Like, we wouldn't have Arnold Schwarzenegger as we know him today without the Terminator. And then Terminator 2 is one of the greatest action movies of all time.
Yeah.
And then when James Cameron left the franchise, they just had no idea what to do with the property. Like, Terminator 2 came out in 92, which was 8 years after the first Terminator. So,
Right.
Terminator 3 was 2003. So that's an 11-year gap. Now, 8 years versus 11 years, it's not a huge difference,
Yeah.
but you can tell why it took so long for Terminator 2 to come out was because James Cameron, being James Cameron, was probably waiting for the effects to catch up with his vision. Terminator 3, the reason why that took so long to come out was because they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know if they were going to get Arnie back. Like, the only reason why he even came back was James Cameron told him to come back just for the money. Because look right there, $30 million went to Schwarzenegger. And then he became governor the same year.
That's insane.
The Governator.
The Governor.
And then at least this one still had the semblance of what the Terminator movies were about. The only thing that was really missing was Linda Hamilton
Yeah.
and James Cameron. But anyways, then we get Salvation.
Ouch.
Did we mention that John Connor's in this movie? Because he mentions his name a lot in this movie. This is the infamous movie where Christian Bale verbally threatened a cinematographer who was fixing light setup.
And I remember they parodied that in Family Guy.
Oh, good for you!
Oh, remember? Oh, by the way, I ate that last piece of pie you were saving for yourself.
Oh, good for you!
I know I've been critical of Family Guy, but that is absolutely hysterical.
They tried to bring the Terminator movies into the future. They tried to do a reimagining of the Terminator movies by saying it into the future. And this was supposed to be like the first movie in like in a new trilogy. Oh, you'll hear that a couple more times. But because of poor returns and poor critical results, this movie was directed by McGee, by the way. I don't know about trusting a director who doesn't have a last name.
You hear that? You don't have a last name, McGee. Quote in the great George Carlin, get a fucking last name, will you?
Jesus, Bill.
No,
Also,
I have a thing against people who don't have last names.
Also, this was the first PG-13 Terminator movie.
Oh my God, for real?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
And then we get Terminator Genisys, which is the epitome. This was a bad fan fiction that a producer got their hands on and was like, yeah, let's turn this into a Terminator movie. This tried to do the first two movies over again with a twist. So this was a reboot of the original trilogy. Except now, a Terminator went back even further ago in time to when Sarah Connor was a child and raises her. So they're prepared for when the Terminator comes back to 1984. And Kyle Reese was not prepared for what he was about to go up against. So then they have to go into the future, which is our present day, to stop Judgment Day from happening. Sound familiar?
Yeah, very.
Except now, the Terminator they have to go up against is John Connor. Bum, bum, bum. It's just so stupid. And then you think you could not save this franchise now. This franchise is dead. The only thing that could happen that could save this franchise was James Cameron coming back. Well, guess what happened? James Cameron comes back, not as director, but producer. And he was a huge part of the story. So what do they do in this movie? They kill off John Connor right after Terminator 2. They Halloween 2018 this.
I haven't seen
So
Halloween 2018.
Basically, what you need to know about Halloween 2018 is everything except for the first movie is not canonical. And this does the same thing, except it erases everything after Terminator 2. So, but the problem is, this might as well have been a reboot because it's the same story. The only interesting thing is the Terminator in this movie, the one that goes back to kill the main characters, can split itself into two Terminators now. An endoskeleton and an exoskeleton. So, whoever has the rights to Terminator, because it's been switching from studio to studio, are we done yet?
Probably not.
Have we learned our lesson?
Lessons are for schmucks.
Terminator and Terminator 2, that's the franchise. End it. We're done.
I'm trying to find the studio. Hold on. Oh, Paramount owns it right now.
Paramount owns it?
Yeah.
Because I think Terminator 3 was done by Warner Bros.
I know, but the rights got sold to Skydance, which is under Paramount, in 2014.
Gotcha.
Wow. That's a good pick.
Oh, yeah, and they're doing an anime now.
Animated? Really?
Anime.
Oh, dear God.
Kill me.
So-
I hate anime.
So, yeah.
Hate, man. Hate that stuff. Oh, my God. Disgrace to humanity.
So, yeah, anyone want to chime in on this one?
Bill?
I don't think I really have anything to say, except they made too many of them.
Yeah.
I'll chime in a little bit, and then I'll I think it's my turn after that. I'm not sure.
Oh, it's my turn.
I was right. Sorry. So yeah. Terminator. The first two are timeless classic films. I think I can't. 3 was really bad.
Although we stopped Judgment Day, you already postponed it. Judgment Day is inevitable.
Yeah. So give me a break. No, and talk.
And McG, please get a last name.
On Twitter, get McG, get last name. Terminator. I thought the premise for Terminator Salvation made a lot of was actually a cool premise. I was in the future, it's about the war, stuff like that.
Yeah, they just made it boring.
Yeah, unfortunately, McG directed it. And Christian Bale was in it, whole waste. Anyways, okay. Unpopular opinion. I actually liked Genesis when it came out, to be completely honest with you.
I Phantom Menaced it.
You Phantom Menace.
That's a thing.
Oh my God. I liked it when it came out. To be completely honest with you, I really did. There's some elements I didn't like. There's some elements I did like. There's some things I didn't like, and there's I thought the premise of having a Terminator that was sent back in time that missed its target that just walks on. So I thought that was kind of cool. That's just it's walking among us and it doesn't even know it's an actual thing. I thought that was cool.
So here's a question.
Yes.
Why didn't Skynet send a Terminator to the very start of the Connor bloodline?
You mean Sarah Connor?
Sarah Connor had a mom and dad, didn't she?
Oh my God. Yeah. But that's Terminator 8 for you or whatever. Terminator 7. Let's go back and kill off Sarah Connor's parents. Oh wait,
Terminator 9, where the Terminators are going back in time to stop the dawn of man.
Oh my God, I don't know. And Dark Fate, when it came out, like I said, I liked a lot of the elements in it. I mean, overall, it was not that great. It was okay.
It's recycled. there's nothing new to it.
I know.
It's a competent action movie and nothing else.
I know listen, they literally brought back Linda Hamilton. Linda Hamilton was in it. Arnold was in it,
and they brought back the kid who played John Connor for the
what?
For the motion.
The motion capture
for the motion capture for his death. Oh, spoiler.
That's all right. I mean, I liked Genesis. Dark Fate was okay. But my thing is, and I completely, when you said this, I was like, that's a brilliant pick. I don't know where they're going to go from here. And I really don't think they're going to go anywhere from here, to be honest with you. I think it's literally like
it's just time to end it.
Unfortunately,
I think they should have done something that was kind of like a combination of
with
Terminator 3 and Terminator Salvation.
With Genesis, go ahead.
But instead of sending back one TX, send back hundreds.
Yeah, try and stop that. They were going to make a trilogy.
Exactly. Try.
Yeah.
That's where the brilliance comes in. You have to really think outside of the box to think, how are they going to survive that?
Yeah. Instead of sending one, send like 3 or 4, or send like 5. And apparently they were going to do like but when I remember when they announced Genesis, they were going to do a trilogy of that trilogy.
Each one they wanted to do a trilogy for.
That's literally what the Wikipedia page says. What do you call it? I don't know. Like they were going to do a TV series. I don't know. I think, to be completely honest with you guys, I think Terminator is done. It should be done as a whole franchise. I mean, like there's comic books and stuff, but I think it should be done. There's a good pick. I like it a lot. So, Bill, you're up.
Okay, since we've been doing a lot of reboots, we haven't been doing remakes lately, haven't we?
Fair.
Yeah, not really.
Okay, so you know what I'm going to do? We're going to visit our very, very dear friend, Mr. Tim Burton.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we're going there, folks. We are going there.
Oh, God.
Okay, this isn't a remake. It's what is it, Justin?
Reimagining.
Reimagining. This is a movie I used to really, really hate. Yup.
He already knows.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I already did it for you. You're welcome.
Thank you. You're welcome, America. Yeah, well, here's what. Okay. I used to really freaking hate this movie.
I used to really not know what to think about this movie.
I used to freaking hate this film with a passion. But here's what I will say. After watching it a few more times, okay, let me just tell you what I don't like right off the bat. You know what I'm going to say, folks. You know it's coming. Johnny Depp is Willy Wonka.
Fair.
He's a creep.
No, that is completely fair.
Like, insert Michael Jackson joke here, and we are done.
And can you believe that Michael Keaton was actually considered?
I think that would have been interesting. What do you think?
I think it would have been similar to his character in Dumbo.
Oh, do we have to discuss that?
Dumbo. We must make our pilgrimage to Pride Rock. I hear we have a new king.
But anyway, yeah, so Johnny Depp is just a creep. Whatchamacallit? Okay. I said we shouldn't pigeonhole actors. Freddie Highmore, I did not like him in this. I just think he was too much of a goody-goody. Because here's the thing, the Charlie in the original, yeah, he was a kid, and that made him likable. And what was so good about the Charlie in the original is because at the end of the film, spoiler for all two of you who haven't seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, when
it was kind of a disappointment when it came out.
What was that?
I mean, it was kind of a box office disappointment when it came out.
Wait, Willy Wonka or Charlie?
Willy Wonka.
Really? But the whole when he goes, "You stole fizzy lifting drinks. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir."
Great scene. That was from the movie, though, not in the book.
Yeah, but here's why I think that scene is so great. Because Grandpa Joe goes, "Come on, let's give it to Slugworth." And Charlie, who thinks he's not going to be rewarded, he's like, "You know what? Here you go, Mr. Wonka." He does it because it's the right thing to do. And he does get rewarded for it. And that's what I think is so better, because he's just because his character, because at the end of the day, he is a good kid. But this one, he's too good, because Freddie Highmore and Charlie, you would expect him to do that.
So one thing I think we can all agree on is Tim Burton does not do subtlety.
No, he doesn't.
At all. And I think it's very clear here that he doesn't do subtlety, because you're right. Charlie is a goody-goody in this. And I think that's what Tim Burton wanted, because that's just how his style is. Everyone in his movies are a little extra.
Because with the subtlety, it's like, getting back to Johnny Depp as Willy Wonka. It's like what they do is like they have like one person mouth off to him, and they're like, "Oh, they're going to get theirs next." While in the original, they kept it more subtle. Like Willy Wonka was charming, but he had that mischievous side. And especially "There is no way we are knowing."
I mean, but Bill, let me ask you something.
Let me ask you something.
If you heard Johnny Depp do that in the tunnel scene, how would you react?
I'd be weirded out, but if he just like spoke it, I think it would be pretty cool.
See, I just think there are some things that it would, if you just retreaded too much, it would be seen as just that, retreading too much. I admire what Tim Burton tried to do. I think the results were more mixed than I think we would have liked. I equate this to a Three Musketeers bar.
Yeah, but no, I still okay. What can you elaborate?
I wouldn't pay money for it, but if it's offered to me,
because here's a few things I'm gonna say. Getting back to Freddie Highmore, like, listen, you shouldn't pigeonhole him. I think I like him better now. This was before he became a serial killer, and then he became a doctor.
In that order?
What was that?
In that order?
Yes. Bates Motel, and now he's on The Good Doctor.
Wow, usually it's the other way around.
For those who don't know, The Good Doctor is one of my favorite shows. But yeah, Freddie Highmore has done better since then. But now I will say this. This does have some good things in it.
Mm.
It does have some good things in it. Like, I bitched about Willy Wonka and Charlie, but the other kids are fantastic. Because here's a big upgrade. Ready? The big upgrade is, in the original one, they were just brats.
Mm.
But you give everyone a different personality. Like, for instance, Veruca, well, she's still a spoiled brat.
Yeah, you chose a poor first one.
Okay. But, like, for instance, Violet, who was just the gum chewer, they turned her into that over-competitive, gotta be the best at everything. And they turned the mom into the soccer mom. the one that we all do not like, and we want to stay as far away from as humanly possible.
The Karen.
Yeah, she was basically a Karen before Karens became a thing. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you notice with all of Tim Burton's work, he has this very unique idea of what suburbia looks like.
Yeah, I think the best way he does it was Edward Scissorhands.
And you kind of see that inspiration in this movie too.
Yeah. Also, Augustus, he's still a glutton. And then you have Mike TV, who was obsessed with TV in the first one, but now
he's a know-it-all.
Yeah.
Insufferable know-it-all.
You have the person, you're like, oh, he's smart, nice guy. Like that guy who knows everything, who you just want to punch in the face.
Who makes you feel stupid for not knowing something.
Yeah, and you want to know something. Like, here's the thing. And, here's another good thing is the music. Okay, I'm not talking about, the songs here were only sung in the factory. The Oompa Loompas, and of course, Willy Wonka, da-da-da, which I wanted to hit on the head about, but...
Yeah.
And then with the songs, I'm not talking about, comparing it to songs like Pure Imagination, because that's a timeless classic. And compared to the Oompa Loompa songs, which are fun, it's but it's always the Oompa Loompa Doopa-dee-doo. Somebody screwed. It's just the same bland thing. But in this one, I like how they give every kid a different musical genre. For Augustus, it's a 50s mambo. For Veruca, not Veruca, for Violet, it's a 60s psychedelic song. For Veruca, it's a 70s singer-songwriter. And for Mike, it's an 80s hair metal ballad.
All that was missing was the cameo by Oingo Boingo.
That would have been great. And you know what the other thing is? As you know, all the lyrics from those songs...
that was a missed opportunity. They should have gotten Oingo Boingo to be the band in the Mike TV segment.
TV, the most important thing that we haven't learned. Well, I'll get to that in 1 second, though. But yeah, all those songs were actually lyrics straight from the book.
Yes, they were.
And that
the Mike TV one is actually kind of controversial because
that was a tirade. Okay, little history lesson here. Roald Dahl was not the biggest fan of
visual media.
Of visual media because he thought it was going to wipe out books.
Yeah, he thought he'd be out of the job.
But you know what? Then why did he keep giving the film rights though?
Because money.
But yeah, because he literally hated Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
So much so that he forbade the studios from ever adapting Great Glass Elevator. And yet they're working on a prequel now.
Really? But
something else for Bill to hate on.
What was that?
Another move. Something else for you to hate on.
But yeah, another thing that I left out that I thought was kind of crappy in this one is I'm not talking about the You Get Nothing. It's before that when, okay, in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, you see all the kids that they survived, which kind of the mystery because in Willy Wonka there'd be like, Mr. Wonka, the other kids, are they going to be okay? Going, oh my dear boy, they'll be just fine. They'll be back to their old terrible selves, but maybe they'll be a little wiser for the wear. Like, you don't know, did they survive? Did they die?
I mean, I always took it as they did survive.
Yeah, but they keep it ambiguous.
I know, but even at the time when you're supposed to think it's ambiguous, it went, right over my head, and I thought, oh, they all survived, but they all learned a valuable lesson.
But yeah, I think. But I will say this: as much
At least they didn't come back out like completely normal. That would have been an insult.
As much as this isn't my favorite, as much as I liked the Gene Wilder one better, I will say at least Tim Burton, he did this as not a remake, but like as another adaptation of the book.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say this, out of all of his reimaginings, this is the one I think had the most personal. This is the one that felt more like a Tim Burton project.
Because he said when he was in 3rd grade, he said Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was his favorite book. So I think he just wanted to make an adaptation of a book that he really loved.
In his own unique Johnny Depp-obsessed way.
So yeah, that's what I think of this movie. It's again, not my favorite Tim Burton movie. Not my favorite Tim Burton movie, but I can at least admire it for what Tim Burton was trying to do.
I'm going to be right back, guys. I just need to go grab something from downstairs, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be right here.
All right, thanks.
We'll be stalling for you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
well, because I think you're next anyway, JT. So
I am, and I think, Bill, I think this is gonna be the last one of the night because it is getting late for me, unfortunately. So, but when Justin comes back, I will touch on the film I picked out that got a remake, but it didn't do. I thought it's more of like an unnecessary thing. I'll talk about the film when I get there, but basically it's I'm not gonna tell you what it is going on for Justin, but it's actually a really interesting pick that I did not know had a remake until I recently found out about it, doing research for this episode. So I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say about it when the time comes. But anyways, Bill, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Good. Are you still predicting?
All right.
Are you still predicting the future?
Yes.
Good.
I just can't think of anything right now to predict.
Oh, well, maybe you can predict what movie I'm going to pick.
Okay, you said it's a remake, right?
It's a remake of a film from 30 years prior.
Is it Mad Max?
No, I should have picked that. Good one. You can guess all you want. I don't care.
I can't think of anything right now.
Me neither. I'm shot too. So
Long day.
Long day, buddy.
It's been a hard day's night.
It has been.
Paul McCartney, don't sue me.
And didn't John Lennon sing that too? No, John Lennon was on vocals on that. Yeah.
Okay. Yoko Ono, don't sue me.
Yoko Ono.
Let's check the chat.
Chat board's been kind of quiet, my friend. Chat board's been a little quiet since we're at 40 minutes now. So
yeah, because this one, this one was kind of because we analyze like every single thing here. We've analyzed like every single little thing.
We do. We definitely try to, So hold on. Is Justin back yet?
Is he back?
I don't see him.
No, he's not back. I think he was getting his. There was a
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably getting his Mexican food for Cinco de Mayo.
I hope so. I wonder what he's getting.
Probably a burrito. I'm just feeling like he got Chipotle or something.
Or salsa fresca, yeah. Have you had it?
What, Chipotle?
No, salsa fresca.
I've never had salsa fresca.
It's really good. They have more toppings than Chipotle, and it's got more variety. So,
you know what my friend calls Chipotle? Hipster Taco Bell.
I agree.
It's basically like cool people's Taco Bell.
It pretty much is, to be honest with you. So.
Yeah, so we wait.
Yeah. I was gonna say too, if you want, I could
Yeah, you want to just like start it? Maybe Justin can jump
why don't I
in.
start mine, and when Justin comes back, he can just jump in.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm voting that this is our last round. And I know we only did 2 rounds. I know we talked a lot. But I think we did 2 rounds. It's good because I think we were all having we all had a long day, especially Justin and I, and you as well. So
yeah, because we're very over analytical here.
A little bit. It's all right. Let me see.
Oh, online timer. Why do you have an online timer?
Not you.
What, are we giving him 1 minute to come back?
Yeah, we're giving him a minute.
Justin, you have a minute.
Oh boy.
Do 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 do. Everyone, you all know the words. Do 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 do. Still not back.
All right. Well, I'm gonna start anyways.
Yeah, let's start anyway.
All right. My last pick of the night, I went last, is Footloose.
Oh, interesting.
So it's fun story, fun facts about this movie and the song, the title track of this movie, for the soundtrack. For those of you who don't know, I'm not going to say specifically where I work, but I work at a place where I work at a really cool place where we get to play brain breaks. And one of the brain breaks is the song Footloose for the kids, and the kids love it. I'm not going to give away anything else besides that. But sometimes there comes a time in film history or movie studios like revisiting properties, and I say to myself, why? The one side of me is like, okay, they can revisit this and I'll be okay with it. They can revisit this and I'll be okay with it.
They disgraced the great Kevin Bacon.
Footloose did not, and I'm telling you that as someone who just knows about the film, who hasn't seen this an iteration of it, who's only seen the original. This did not need to happen.
Oh, it didn't.
No. This is like a complete unnecessary remake, as they like to say in Hollywood. And in fact, it has a 5.9 out of 10 on IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes give it a 68, which is good. It's just basically just a remake of an iconic 80s film with a great iconic soundtrack. So honestly, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the original film with Kevin Bacon. The soundtrack is fantastic. The soundtrack is fantastic. I love this Justin's rejoining.
Jesus Christ.
So Justin, my final pick of the evening is Footloose from 2011, and this is what they call an unnecessary remake.
Yes, it is.
Because why? I was just telling Bill, thank you for joining us again. I love the fact that we were able to have great iconic 80s films. Like if they were to remake 16 Candles, I'd be like, okay, remake The Breakfast Club with modern context stuff. It makes sense. This one was just unnecessary. This film was just unnecessary to remake. To me, it didn't even make sense why you're remaking it. You're gonna have the same songs. You're gonna have the same. It didn't really bomb. It says it made $63 million worldwide on a budget of 24.
That's a pretty good turnout for that kind of budget.
Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad at all. Honestly, though, I don't think that this was completely necessary to be made. I don't want to sound like a stick in the water or whatever, but like, why did we remake Footloose? Why did we do this? I don't know. So, and look, when I think of Footloose, I still think of Kenny Loggins. Plus they got Blake Shelton, who I like, but they got him to do Footloose, the title track. Zach Brown to do another track. Holding Out for a Hero was no longer Bonnie Tyler or Jim Steinman. It was this other person I don't even know. They just basically did a modern update for this movie. And honestly, I don't really think that this was completely like, it's just why?
It got a 69% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, look at this. Hold on if I can. Hold on. Look, if I do this and I go to all and I go to Rotten Tomatoes, this film has a 68. It has a 6 out of 10, 5 out of 5.9 if you want to be specific on IMDb, but still. Like, I don't know. I think this was an unnecessary film to remake.
I agree.
The first one's great. There was no incentive. This is literally a cash grab just because of the name.
Cash grab on 80s nostalgia.
Literally.
There's nothing. I'll tell you why they made the movie. Because they wanted to make money on the soundtrack.
Exactly.
Oh, again, because Kenny Loggins was great. Any comments for Footloose before we wrap up for tonight? Anything at all? You guys got anything at all? Or
I haven't seen it, but I've heard
I haven't seen it either.
Okay.
Yeah, I had no interest in watching this movie.
Okay. It was one of the first things that popped up in my head. I was like, oh, wait, I forgot that they remade Footloose back like several years ago.
There's one very quick reboot thing I want to talk about. I'll make it very fast if that's okay.
Sure, what do you got? So yeah, go ahead.
The Planet of the Apes reboot.
I was gonna bring that up before, but I was like, now let me talk about this one instead. I like this, but go on.
Yeah, we're not talking about the remake. Okay, I think we picked on Tim Burton a little too much. Well, we praised him, then we picked on him.
Yeah.
But we're not discussing the 2001 remake.
This really was a Tim Burton show.
It really was.
We're talking about, I will say about the Tim Burton one, Mark Wahlberg said, are you going to do a sequel? They're he said, I'd rather jump out a window. But this one, the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, Rise.
The first one I really liked.
Me too.
And first one was him and James Franco.
Mm-hmm.
About, how Caesar's developing. And then and then the apes just remember ape to separate, weak, ape together, strong.
Yeah.
And I love Maurice the orangutan. And it's just so interesting because a lot of when the monkeys talk, it's nonverbal. Have you noticed that?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, yeah.
I think that's so interesting. And I love in the first one where they're like, get your paws off me, you damn dirty ape. No!
That was great. And the very, very original one, yeah, that was brilliant.
But I got to admit, the people who did the voice of the apes, they must have had so much fun in the recording studio.
I mean, Andy Serkis, he was actually there doing the motion capture. He's the motion capture god at this point. The guy playing Caesar. He's played Caesar. He's played Gollum. He's played King Kong. You
know what my favorite one was? When I think it was in the second one, we're like, you killed Caesar! And the monkeys are going crazy. You killed Caesar! I'm like, these people must have had so much freaking fun in the recording booth.
Like I said, I don't think it was even a recording booth. I think it was them covered in dots on set. So that'll be even a lot more fun because you actually get to be jumping around like a bunch of monkeys.
Yeah.
And you know what? And also the War for Planet of the Apes. I think Woody Harrelson's villain was freaking awesome. Because he was
And
he was a freaking sociopath.
Yeah, but
He was literally getting enjoyment out of giving the apes pain.
Yes. But he also believed himself to be the hero of his own story because he believed in his cause so much that even his end was by his morals. You know, he'd rather die than become one of them when he got infected.
Let me ask you. I was hearing that this is like a prequel series to the original Planet of the Apes. Have you heard that or no?
I believe it.
I mean, this one, I heard someone asked someone asked that question once, not to me, but I was watching something online and I remember that. They said that there was a rumor, a report out that they were going to try and connect all the dots from the original films, the original 5, to Rise of the Planet of the Apes and War and Dawn and all that stuff. Not Dawn, Dawn, Rise. Yeah, Dawn.
On War.
It was Rise, Dawn, War. Yeah. I thought they were. I think there is some sort of rumor out there. You can look this up on your own, guys. About a connection between all of them.
But Justin will tell you that what was it? Yeah. Rise of the Planet of the Apes, or the second one was like my favorite movie of 2014.
Yes, it was. I remember that.
Was Dawn the second one, or was Rise?
Second one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was my favorite movie of 2014.
That was the one with Gary Oldman in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I really like this.
I've loved all of them. Even the old ones. I have the old ones on Blu-ray, actually.
Damn you all to hell!
Yeah. Oh my god.
I've seen.
You're all gonna think I'm crazy, but it was one day I was homesick one day from school. This is going back a couple years, and I was actually home and I watched all 5 in one day, and I was like, wow, what have I done? I just watched the original 5 from the first one to I think the last one's called Battle. There's a great scene in the 3rd or 4th one where Caesar gives this amazing speech, and it's another story for another time. But it's if you've never seen the original films, I do recommend watching all of them.
So wait, Caesar's alive in the original ones?
Yeah, let me show you. Planet of the Apes. If I go back to here, right? If I go to the original films from Fox in the 60s and 70s. If I go to this franchise, and if I can find them, 1 second, if my laptop would load. Okay. There's Planet for first one. There's Beneath the Planet of the Apes. There's Escape. Beneath is literally it's underneath the Statue of Liberty and stuff like that. Escape from the Planet of the Apes is basically like the where Caesar and his wife and their son go back in time, go back to Earth, and like our present day 1971 or 2, whatever it is, right? It's great. I liked it a lot. Conquest is basically like where I think the Conquest is the 4th one. It's where like it's kind of like the Rise of the Planet of the Apes film, where they kind of take over. But there's a very famous quote, and I want to see if I can find it, but I think it's basically when it's what Caesar says to the general of the military, as he's like, you know what, this is my planet, kind of thing. I think it's at the end of this one, and I'll read it to you because we have. I may be exhausted, but I'm going to read this quote to you if I can find it. It's really great. If I can find it.
It's not going to be on Wikipedia, dude.
No, it was on Wikipedia. I'm telling you. I think it was this one. Hold on. He's like, here it is, right here. Hold on. Right here. I'll highlight it for you. So this is a very famous film quote for all you film nuts out there who love Planet of the Apes. Just saying, where there is fire, there is smoke. And in that smoke, from this day forward, my people will crouch and conspire and plot and plan for the inevitable day about a man's downfall. The day when he finally and self-destructively turns his weapons against his own kind. the day of writing in the sky where your cities lie buried under radioactive rubble, where the sea is the Dead Sea, and a land of wasteland out of which I will lead my people from their captivity, and I will build our own cities in which there will be no place for humans except to save our ends, and we shall own our own armies, own our own religion, and own our own dynasty. And that day is upon you now. Look that scene up on YouTube, everyone. That is a great scene. And then Battle is 1973. I love these film series personally. That's me. I had to share that one quote. That was a brilliant line that they wrote in the script. So, anyways, any other comments for Planet of the Apes? Good pick, Bill.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry I had to. I gave an extra pick there. I just was really thinking about that.
No, it was a good pick. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I got to say about that. Like we didn't do as much as we usually do when we talk about this, but this went on for 2 hours.
Oh my god!
Oh, because we got caught up with Batman and Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, those two are huge properties. Let's put it that way. I mean, come on.
I feel like you do got to kind of talk about them individually.
Yeah, I mean, you really do. And it's just
you got to talk about them individually.
Yeah. So, any other comments, guys, before we wrap up for the night?
I think I'm good. You, Justin?
I'm good.
All right. Well, and that note, Bill, why don't you just do it now to get out of the way?
Oh, you mean my podcast, the Sports Insanity Podcast, which is available on all platforms such as Apple and Spotify?
Yep, that one right there.
Check us out.
Thank you. I want to thank the two gentlemen for having the last 2 hours of my life been an absolute ride and joyous occasion on all fronts. Bill Murphy, I want to thank you so much for joining us as usual. Being my
always a pleasure.
You're the man. Justin, I know you had a long day. I know you had a good time. I want to thank you for coming on as always to share your
pleasure as always.
So thank you.
You're basically in the fold. He's basically in the fold now, is he?
We're gonna have to make a Justin t-shirt now.
Yeah, you're basically in the fold now, my friend.
Yeah.
And also check out our channel, Movieholics Productions.
Yes. And the link for their channel is always in the description of my videos. So you guys can check it out on your own. It's under Bill's channel. It should pop up right there. So you're all set. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you like to see here, obviously subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm running low on energy. It's been crazy. But I hope you have a good rest of your night. And yeah, stay well and be awesome and enjoy some movies. Go into the theaters later on this year. It's going to be great.
It's coming. Theaters are reopening.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, please just be safe.
Absolutely.
Be safe. Wear your mask. Still wear your mask. Still social
I've been
distance.
going to movies about a week after it premieres. It's been working out so far.
So everyone just stay safe. And if you haven't already, get vaccinated.
Absolutely. Go for it. Seriously.
Get your vaccine.
Please do.
Don't listen to the conspiracy theories. Go get vaccine.
It's so simple. It's relatively painless.
You might be feeling crappy the next day, but you know what? Better than the alternative.
Exactly. So, thank you so much for watching, everyone, and listening. Have a great night.
Good night, guys.